What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two for Two, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Quis, and I'm here as always with my brother, Nell. We back with another episode for y'all, man. So enjoy this one. You know we're talking about the NBA Finals. It's season 3, episode 44. Enjoy it. Nell, it's good to see you, man.
How you been? Good to see you too, man. Welcome back.
Hey, back from Vegas. I've been traveling a lot. But I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to be home, man. Hey, I went to an Aces game while I was out in Vegas. You know,
yeah, I heard
they
you
lost.
got flown out.
I got flown out. Yep, Asia Wilson. She finally, bro. She been playing for a minute, but
hey, let's clap it up.
Yeah, come on. You know, I couldn't see her after the game because they lost. You know, she was a little upset.
I understand.
But you know, I was there. You know, she felt my presence. She had a good
in
game.
The building supporting.
Yeah, had good seats too. Real good seats. She got the hookup. That's why I won MVP. But how are you, man? What you been up to? How was your weekend? Your week? You enjoying the finals? Like, what's up?
I mean, life is lifing right now, you know? Basketball is almost over, so it's almost them dark days of the summer for me. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but, you know, I'm looking forward to the offseason, though, and I'm looking forward to the offseason.
Yeah, so...
All in all, everything's well.
That's what I like to hear, brother. As you alluded to, the dark days are upon us, man. They're upon us. You know, we're here. So what we're going to do today, we're just going to react on this series, man. We, you know, switching it up a little bit, actually. Recording, you know, after...
When is game 4?
3? Game 4 is tomorrow. Friday.
Is it?
Yeah, so we're recording this. We're recording this on Thursday. Finally.
I'm so used to having 3 days off between games.
Yeah.
So this series will be over by the time we talk again.
Yeah. So this might be our last time before, you know, we hop back on here and put a bow on I guess NBA season the way it's trending. But we're just gonna come on here. We're just gonna talk a little bit about it, man. You know, we got on here. We previewed it. We both said Mavs in 6.
I will say, I was just playing. I was just playing. Like if you go back and listen, I named so many reasons as to why the Mavs wouldn't win this series, but I let the hate take over.
You did.
You know, I said Luka was going to struggle defensively, and how was that going to affect his offense? We knew the pick and roll. Boston kind of had a strategy for it, putting Tatum on Lively. The role players that were shooting so well throughout the playoffs all of a sudden stops. But like I chose hate over logic. And I'll continue to pick hate over logic when it comes to the Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, Denver Nuggets. But
wait, where'd the Nuggets come from?
I always got smoke for Jokic.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Hate the hate one. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I was kidding, because I wasn't. I'm just ashamed, man. I'm just ashamed. Here we are.
I was more like praying that the Mavs won.
It would be nice. Now we got to deal with the Celtics winning the ring, because that's what it's looking like. I mean, do you think? Let me start this off. I have a Brian Windhorst like rant for Luka. You know, it sucks when you have a guy that's that supremely talented offensively. You know, he's gifted. The game comes easy for him. You see how easy it is for him. Even with the way that the Celtics are defending him, a lot of the shots he's just missing short. He's missing, but you know, that plays a role. Fatigue, all that comes into effect. Luka Doncic is showing exactly why, and this is something I said similarly to the Lakers point. When your stars don't play hard every minute that they're on the floor, when they spend time, you know, crying on the ground, arguing with the refs, arguing with the fans, arguing with the coaches, not getting back on defense, that shows you why those teams will never win, right? Yes, the Boston Celtics are the much better team in this series. They've been the best team in the NBA all year. That's what we talked about. Like you said, as much as we didn't want to admit it, that's the truth. And to their credit, which is something that we've both said now, their stars play hard, right? Jaylen Brown is getting on the ground for loose balls. Jason Tatum is rebounding. Jason Tatum, like you say, he's guarding a 5 right now in this series for the sake of his team winning, not taking plays off. Even when Jason Tatum's not playing great offensively, the one thing he's not doing is taking plays off, right? So you got Luka on the other side. It's a lot of possessions where you see him arguing and somebody's getting a layup. There's a lot of possessions where you see him on the ground. It's just ugly, and it sucks because he won't be able to win like that. And the Mavs won't either. I mean, imagine, we're not professional basketball players by any stretch, but I mean, we play basketball, right? Like, imagine like playing pickup, right? And the best player on your team shoots the ball 85% of the time, but then he doesn't guard nobody on defense, gives up easy buckets, doesn't get back in transition. Not like, you're gonna be sick of that man, right? And so I feel like that's something that I'm not saying that the Dallas Mavericks are sick of him, but it is something that I'm sure other players, the coaches at the biggest stage, during the biggest stage of the biggest league in the world, basketball wise, this is your chance to really show that you're like the guy. You can be one of those guys in the NBA, face of the league maybe, right? And you letting us down. I just feel like that's really hard to come back from. And Boston sees that, Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. Well, it's not me because I see other people feel the same way. But I had a hard time, especially in the last game, game 3, watching that. Just like, why are we even here? That's all I got.
Yeah, it's gonna be a quick one. It's gonna be over in 4, unfortunately. I mean, both me and you talked about how exciting this finals matchup could have been. Most exciting since Warriors and Cavs back in 2016. I mean, this will probably go down as one of the most boring finals of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not a lot of games really coming down to the wire. Obviously, game 3 was, back and forth. Mavs made on a 20-2 run, late in that game to get back into it. And obviously Luka fouls out and Kyrie did, the best he could. But Boston just has too much. And to your point about, Luka's defense, it's really been killing them. But crazy enough, I don't think it hasn't hurt them as much as I thought it would. Because, even when you just think about the first 2 games, like if you would have told me that they were going to hold Boston to, what was it, like 107 and 105 the first 2 games, and Tatum was going to average 17 points and like under 40% shooting, and Jaylen Brown was only going to be averaging 20, like I would have said Boston was doing a hell of a job. But obviously when you watch the game and you see just the constant just paint touches that the Boston Celtics are getting, just blowing right past Luka, and the shots that they're getting, like it's just only a matter of time before they go on a little spurt where they knock down 3-4 threes in a row. They get a couple stops, they force turnovers, and get a couple easy baskets, and that's really what's killed them. Obviously game 1 Kristaps took over. Game 2 was, like I said, it was more of a team effort. Like Jrue Holiday had the big game, obviously. Derek White knocked down some shots. Pritchard had that big 3 at the end of the third quarter in game 2 to kind of kill Dallas's momentum. Game 3, the role players finally stepped up and, were able to help out a little bit. Kyrie finally showed up, but Luka struggled offensively and obviously still struggled defensively and then fouled out. So, like you said, Boston is just a better team. We knew this. They won 64 games or whatever it was in the regular season for a reason. Just from top to bottom. Once they got Jrue Holiday in the summer, like I was pissed when they got Jrue, because that just solidified their starting 5. Like they already got Kristaps, who, I knew that was just going to be a really good fit for them. Derek White obviously had been playing great for them. You add Jrue Holiday and, he's just a menace on both ends of the court. So that team is just stacked. The way that they play, the threes that they get up, you got, every guy on the court is a threat to, take the ball to the basket and, crack the tension. And then, they're good enough to make plays and make the right play, whether it's the score or, get a shot for another guy. So, give Boston, unfortunately, you got to give them a ton of credit for, their game plan and the way that they've played. And even with Tatum, he broke out and had 30 31 in game 3, but still not shooting the ball as efficiently as he's accustomed to. But the overall, they're one game away from a championship, and at the end of the day, there's going to be nothing that you can take away from them. I mean, I'm sure. I think this is one of the easiest paths to a championship I think I've seen in quite some time. I might even put the Lakers bubble championship over this. That's how much. That's how much I'm, down on.
mean, but do you think there is a team in the NBA that would have challenged them the way
easily.
they've been playing? Who we got?
I don't think they beat Denver in a 7-game series. Honestly, they wouldn't have had absolutely anyone for Jokic, and I think that's one thing that they haven't really faced throughout the playoffs, where they faced a matchup that they didn't have an answer for. Like they have answers for Luka, and obviously he's great, so he's gonna still get his 25 to 30, 6 to 10 assists, and he's gonna rebound the ball. But he's like Pat Bev said a couple years ago, a cone. What does a cone do? Don't move, and that's exactly what he is on defense. Yeah. So he's a liability on that end, and you're kind of living with the shots that he's taken, because you kind of, you've taken away his pick and roll lob threat. And then other guys aren't really knocking down shots. So, I mean, in a couple of games I've watched them play against Denver in the regular season, Kristaps and Al they've got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing for Jokic. So I think that would have been a much tougher matchup. And then, I mean, honestly, I think Minnesota would have given them a run for their money more than Dallas. Boston obviously is still the more talented team, certainly offensively, but I think Ant and Cat could have given them, I think they could have gotten a game. I mean, there's still game 4 to play. Maybe Mavs can steal one, but I think the Timberwolves would have given them, bless you. I think the Timberwolves would have given them a run for their money. I still think a healthy Bucks team, probably not winning that series, but I think it would have been a tougher matchup. I think they would have been. Damn, we ain't seen them tested one time. Like it was just, it was a breeze. Like this whole series was just the whole playoffs was just a breeze for them.
It was
no adversity. They didn't trail in any series. Like
haven't lost on the road. Or was
only time a series was tied was when it was 0-0 at the start.
And it's like to your point, man, about just the difference, right? Like you see the difference in these two teams. While one is supremely, one is very, the Celtics are better, like we said, but the Celtics play the game the right way. You said something about the paint touches, right? The Celtics are actively working harder to not settle than they are to just get to the paint. Watching the broadcast, Joe Moose was like, we got to work hard to get good shots, because it's like, they ain't guarding you at all. You could really just sit here and Jason Tatum step back 3 all night. You might have a shot, but it's like, they
not
can
the way
get
he
to
been
the rim.
Shooting it.
No, you're right. And it was funny in the broadcast because he said, don't settle for those. And then it's like, right, you the only one that be doing that over here. That here nor there. Dallas doesn't have it. They don't have enough. You talked about Luka, like how his defense and his offense, like how they would impact one another, right? So what you see, or what I see at least, is he's not guarding anybody on defense. He's getting targeted. He's picking up cheap fouls because he's playing lazy. So now he's getting into it. He's frustrated. And then on the offensive end, you take into account, like, okay, you're frustrated because you can't stop nobody. You're down 3-0 now. But even let's just go back to when you're down 2-0. What you saw was Luka and Kyrie were trying their hardest to win that game by themselves for 3 quarters. That's how they went down 20-something. You saw PJ Washington had, 1 point going into the half because he wasn't touching the ball. Derrick Jones already doesn't really do much. It's like, we probably not giving him the ball either. And so that's what, two guys out. And then who's their last guy? Gafford. Okay, lob threat. We just said how Jason Tatum's taking that away. And so then I think it's funny because when Kristaps goes out, they're thinking, okay, cool, we have a better shot going one-on-one getting to the paint. But it's literally Kyrie, Luka trying to get switched. Like Boston is comfortable switching Al onto you. They were comfortable putting Tillman onto you. They're comfortable with Jaylen Brown. They're comfortable with Peyton Pritchard. Because what Dallas reverted to out of frustration was just pure one-on-one basketball. Luka is fighting, trying to get a matchup that he wants, and he misses short. You know, he missed that little 5-footer touch shot about 5 times last night. He shot 2 step-back threes in a row where he fell both times trying to get a foul, and they got layups both times. And then, like you said, on the flip, like Kyrie played his best game of the series. But even Kyrie was still going, he was like, well, he got to do it by himself too. He's thinking the same thing. And so then when Dallas went on that run, it was when you start getting PJ going. PJ hits 3 threes in a row, right? Like I can't stand Maxi Kleber, but you get Maxi Kleber some open shots, right? You got Tim Hardaway Jr. some open shots. Granted, Tim Hardaway Jr. ain't hitting nothing, but you haven't played him all playoffs. I mean, really, what do you expect? And he's a cone too. Hasn't ever guarded anybody. So you just see the tale of like the contrast of styles, right? It's night and day. That one-on-one basketball is not going to beat Boston. The only reason why the Pacers series was competitive in spurts was because of how they play so fast and they just kick. They don't care who scores. Boston is okay with Luka trying to get 35 because they know one of my 2 stars is probably going to get to 25. And if they don't, Al Horford might get 12. Drew Holiday going to get 17. Derek White going to hit 5 threes. Then you put Hauser in. He didn't miss yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just spreading it around. And Dallas can't guard nobody. Like, you can't guard nobody. And it's just like...
Yeah, it's easy to load up defensively the way they have throughout this postseason. Like I said, coming in to the series, like there is no Rudy Gobert. There is no Zubac. There is no Kyle Anderson. There aren't guys that there isn't a rookie and God, what's his name? Chet, that you're living with him shooting, and these other guys
Gafford and
spacing
Lowry,
the floor.
Not put they, like you said, they can't take advantage of that matchup with Tatum. Like your 5s can't do nothing. Your 4 is PJ Washington, but he's a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Or a straight line driver.
You got your 5 out in the corner, and then you got Drew Holiday or Derek White in the dunker spot.
Drew is sitting here playing Josh Hart right now. He just getting there where he fit in. Like, I just stand right here.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick. He didn't have a outstanding game in Game 3 because I was really hoping that he snuck up and won that Finals MVP. That'd have been great for me to see neither Tatum or Brown win the Finals MVP, but I think Jaylen Brown's got it locked up with a good closeout performance.
All right, so back to what we said in the last pod, though. They're going to win this series. How are we feeling about Jason Tatum?
Excuse me. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I understand, like, if he doesn't win Finals MVP, I think the discourse around, him as a player is going to be kind of nasty and interesting. But, like, I forgot exactly what the quote was I just saw, but, it was something like, he wants the whole team to shine or whatever. It's like he's saying all the right things. And, when you just think about it, not from a fan perspective or, a hater of Boston, what else would you want from your star player? He's saying all the right things. You're 1 win away from a championship. There's really nothing to talk about here. And obviously, like, it's sports media. That's the NBA discourse that fans and media have these days. It's like, if they're not averaging in 30 on, efficient shooting percentages, you're trash, you're folding, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But I mean, like, he's struggling to shoot. Like, we get that. And obviously he had the breakout 30-point game in Game 3, but he's doing everything else. And it's like we talked about with Luka. It's like when Luka's shot is off and other guys aren't knocking down shots, it's like, what's he really giving you? He's not
worthless.
He's not helping you. He's not helping you defensively. And it's not really to compare Luka and Tatum. When you see your star player struggling, I know sometimes I would get on it because body language is a thing. Like, you see him struggling with his shot, he'll turn the ball over and you just see him hanging his head or throwing his arms up in the air, bad body language, not necessarily going after everything defensively. But with Tatum, he's playing the game the right way. Like he's passing the ball when he draws to, he's rebounding, he's playing both sides, he's competing. So I mean, the fact that he's just not making as many shots as people want him to make, like, look, like you said, once he wins this thing, nothing else really matters. Now, of course, the hater in me is going to be like, yo, you won that championship, but like, god damn, it took like an elite cast, because without it, the way you played it, you wouldn't have got the job done. Like you can have that conversation, but at the end of the day, give Boston's front office a ton of credit for assembling that team, and Jaylen Brown and Kristaps and Drew and Derek White, give them a ton of credit for the way that they've played and contributed to this championship run. This is for sure a team championship. This wasn't a one man or a 2-man show. Like the entire team contributed, and I think if you take off, obviously Kristaps was gone most of this postseason, but like without that entire starting five, Boston isn't where they are without their supporting cast.
I'll give him his credit. No, I'm probably not gonna. I'm not gonna say probably. I won't.
Like this finals performance ain't about to leap him into the top 5. Like it ain't about to leap him into next year MVP consideration. Right. Like
but I won't.
He didn't do that with his performance.
Right. I'm not. This doesn't move him in that. Now, can I respect him a little more as a superstar? Yes, because of what you just said. Now, we look at a lot of the teams that their superstar or their team is kind of revolved around one or two guys. You think about like the James Harden teams that can never win. You're talking about looking at Luka right now. Sometimes, like you said, your Sixers with when your two guys or when your guy Joel is, not doing what he wants to do, he can kind of mess this thing up, right? Like those superstars that when they not going, we not going. Those kind of superstars.
Right.
There's a lot of those in today's, society. Like you said, the media, the way the media drives this whole thing, we love watching Luka drop 35-point triple-doubles. But then the flip of that is the minute that they start losing, we're like, wow, look how lazy this guy is. Like, no, he always does that. You know what I'm saying? That's always him. But it's so, it's not always such a cut and dry thing, I guess, for superstars to be willing to not mess their team up, is what I'm getting at. Jason Tatum, great talent, can score the ball, lots of skills. But like you said, he's okay with, or he's accepted how to be a good leader, how to be a great teammate, even if I'm not getting 30 every time. So I'll go rebound. Shoot, I don't. How many guys do we hear? I don't want to be a 5. I don't want to play the 4. I don't want to play this. I'm this. I'm that. He's willing to go ahead and accept. Hey, look, my team needs me to do this. So this is what I'm going to do today for us to win. And I'll try to figure out how to get my in between that. Now we do see him sometimes he falls into those modes, but that's a superstar thing where he'll try to do a little too much, maybe take a couple bad step back shots, but at the end of it all, he's still being a good teammate. He's still defending. He's still rebounding. He's still trying to make the right pass. And he's empowering those guys around him. And he's allowing this cast to be the elite cast that they are. He's not trying to take too much away from Derek White because he's not looking like, damn, Derek White got about 17 today. I got 12. I'm about to go ahead and try to get mine. He's not doing that. And that I can give him credit for. And I feel like shout out to Boston, like you said, for being able to build this team, but also they have two great young superstars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the sense that those guys want to win more than they want the other glory because they know at the end of the day, if you win it, we can't say nothing. Like you said, like we can try to slander them and say, oh, it was easy. We can do the Boston hate. We don't like Boston. We said it. It is what it is. But we're not going to be like, man, nah, they sorry. Like you can't take nothing away from these guys, So
it gets kind of exhausting. Like I want to be the big Boston hater, the Jokic hater, Knicks hater, but like sometimes like if I'm not actively like going against like series against, like, look, I was a huge Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, like, I was a fan of theirs before we got into that playoff series with the Knicks. Now I hate them. But, like, if I'm not in a series with them, like, if I'm just watching basketball as a fan, it's
Acknowledge
like,
the good ball. It's good ball.
that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to start acknowledging these good players. Everything, we just got to, we nitpick too much. Too much. It's like nobody can have bad games or bad series. Like, they happen. Like, we're seeing, I feel like this playoffs is a great example of that. Like, we've seen the best and worst of Luka. We've seen the best and worst of Kyrie. Tatum hasn't had a great finals, but, like, he's still doing things that are contributing to winning. And, like, we should focus more on that than, if he was losing these games and he was having, the struggling numbers that he was, then we could point that out. But if they're still winning, like, what else can you say, man?
Hey, they always said winning cures all. Boston's winning. All we talking about is Luka. You wake up, turn on ESPN, they talking about how bad Luka is.
I also want to point this out. The Finals MVP, whether it be Tatum or Brown, I think Jalen's averaging like 24-ish points a game, somewhere around there. Tatum 21, like 8 and like 7. I just want to point out that Steph Curry didn't win Finals MVP for averaging 26, 6 and 5 in the finals, and he was clowned. So, like, I'm very interested on what the discourse is going to be for the Finals MVP this year.
Oh yeah, you know how it's going to go. It's going to be, because now the next piece of this hate thing, right, is, well, damn, that was too easy. So the next conversation is going to be, what are the odds that they can do this again, which are going to be high.
Right now.
Right. So what do we have to do as a hating society? Got to tear them two apart. They've been trying it. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum is going to get to the point where we can't even acknowledge that they're just a great team. So we're going to try to pit these two against each other in hopes that we tear it up. I mean, hey, shout out to Jaylen Brown, though. He signed that contract, richest man in the league. Everybody was talking crazy. Shoot, me too. I said, dang. I said, Rob.
I certainly was.
I said, Rob, y'all crazy. I told you Jason Tatum ain't your best player. Look what you just gave him. Talking crazy to him. I'm like, oh, he's going to turn the ball over. He's going to ruin it. But, man, look at him. I came out. Jaylen Brown has probably been the most impactful player on the floor this series. I mean, just offensively.
I'd have to say so. As much as I like, defensively, he certainly stepped up to the challenge, and offensively, putting up some solid numbers. 8 assists
last night. I'm like, yo, you don't even pass like that, Jalen. Stop acting like that.
Definitely not a playmaker. So 8 assists from him is shocking. But you just look, when you're doing it on the biggest stage, sometimes you just got to get a boy credit. So as much as I don't want to, got to give Jaylen Brown some credit. He's been balling. It makes me sick to my stomach that Boston is gonna win another championship. The good thing about social media is you can just mute stuff and you ain't got to see anything. I ain't got to turn on ESPN or get on Bleacher Report. I ain't got to do none of that until August.
I was sick last night. I watched the game on my flight, and I'm like, dang, the basketball season's about to be over on Friday. So I was talking about how I got to give me a nice hefty pour, sit down and watch the end of a great year. But just know on Saturday morning, assuming Boston sweeps these boys, which I hope not, but
they will. That's over.
Yeah, I don't have any. I just don't think there's an adjustment you can make.
I'd rather them close it out now, so that way they can't celebrate in front of their annoying ass fans. As I don't want Boston to be able. They gonna have a parade, and it's gonna be great for them regardless. But I don't want them to be able to celebrate in their own building. I remember Kobe one time. He said the 2010 championship was really special for him because I think that might have been first or second one that they've won like in LA, like in Staples Center. And he said that's always like a special feeling. So I'm hoping that Tatum and Brown can't get that. Like celebrate on the road, an empty building, everybody hopefully booing you, no applauses, and
empty. Yeah. I mean,
everybody go home after the game over.
We got to find some way to not let them enjoy this. You're right. I mean, I was just gonna say, regardless of when this thing ends, the best part is that next day I get to start thinking about Knicks offseason. And I can keep it rolling.
That's a good thing for you.
I'm excited.
Okay. I'm excited for the offseason too, I can't lie. See what kind of moves my Sixers make and route to our fourth championship.
You ignored me about Kelly Oubre. He signed with CAA. You know
I didn't ignore you. I didn't ignore you. I just disliked the message. That's all. I gave it a thumbs down. I acknowledged it.
Okay.
It just wasn't what you wanted.
That's true. That's not about this. So to wrap this thing up now, do they have a shot?
No.
Let's not
even like have this kind of discussion. I always hate when teams get down 3-0 and then we have to sit here and be like, do they got a chance? Can they do it? Like, no, like let's just whether they win the next game or not, like let's pack it up, like make sure you got the champagne and the trophy ready for Boston every game. Get the t-shirts ready. You can, any kind of t-shirts they got ready for Dallas, they can just throw those away because it ain't happening.
They send them overseas.
Just bring out all the Boston stuff because that's who the champion gonna be.
You ain't wrong. You're not wrong. With that, man. No, I have to admit it for us, brother. We was wrong. We did not go.
No, you were wrong.
No. I was just playing.
I was around for the sake of the prop. That's it. For the sake of the prop.
Hey, I told you, man.
That's probably why they got swept. I shouldn't have burnt that thing.
Walt is going
I jinxed myself.
Shut us down. Walt is going to shut us down. We got a lot of heat about the Kyrie take. All right.
We did. But to be fair, it was hypothetical too. Like we just said, if he wins, obviously, if they won, he was going to have to be hooping. He wasn't going to win with him playing the way he was playing the first two games. So like it was all hypothetical, man.
Yeah. So get off our backs, man. We the type of pod we gonna respond to y'all response, man. Ain't gonna be on us, man. But
they gonna make us drop a diss track.
Facts. We can do that. Because Walt, we're going to have to go at odds with Walt because Walt was about to shut us down talking about CP like that, man. We was going to need a new new CEO. But yeah, man, it's tough. Boston, they might do it. Shout out to the Eastern Conference, maybe. West always been weak. Told y'all that. Y'all be talking crazy. But now, if you ain't got nothing for us, brother.
Not a damn thing.
Hey, next time y'all see us, it's going to probably be football season. And guess what? We can't wait. So with that...
I certainly can wait.
No.
I can wait.
No.
I can wait.
I have so much to talk to you specifically about. I have so much. I can't wait.
I don't even know what's going on in the NFL these days.
It's okay. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it with... probably our next episode, because like I said, the season's coming to an end, brother. So say goodbye. Do you want to say goodbye to the NBA? This is the last time the people will be able to.
Nah, it's so hard to say goodbye.
We'll save it for next week.
Yeah, we'll go fishing like inside the NBA.
Yeah. So with all of that, Nell, it's gonna wrap it up for this episode of 2 for 2. It's season 3, episode 44 in the books. We're almost done with the NBA season. We are saddened by the end, but we appreciate y'all rocking with us.
WNBA. We got WNBA.
Yeah, we do. So we're gonna follow that. We're gonna keep this train rolling. There is no off season for 2 for 2, if y'all were wondering. So with that, subscribe, like, share, comment on Twitch. We ain't even on Twitch. We need to get on Twitch. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, wherever you consume your 2 for 2 media. Share some love. Continue to rock with us as always. That's going to do it. Quis, Nell, 2 for 2. We out.